Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be discussing the wonderful T4 mats and their specific rankings that go along with my thoughts, at least. A lot of people talk about these rankings, what they should do. Everybody asks each other questions, and just trying to figure out where to get or where to spend these mats. I mean, they're pretty. I've got 200. I'll get another. I think we're going to be just short from 1 or 2% this time. We had some people with vacations, and we didn't. The alliance I'm in is kind of a. We push, but we understand that real life stuff happens. So we were trying to, or actually we're not trying. We are understanding through the holidays and just kind of. Push through this. So anyway, point is that I'll get another 130 or so, and I'll definitely have some upgrades to be looking at. So, I want to look at exactly where I'm going to want to spend these things, because I'm going to be able, if I want to, be able to update or upgrade an ultimate. So, that's one of the things that not a lot of people have necessarily talked about, and even some of these specials, like, do you want to put the T4 ability mats into some of these. There's a lot of good characters out there. There's some decent characters with great, ability upgrades. One I'll get into a little bit, Winter Soldier. His plus 80% there is a pretty nice bump for his damage. But again, one of the things that I'm going to touch on in this video is don't just look at that percent and think, oh, that's the one that I really should do here because it's 80% and the other one's 30%. It's important to look at what their damage is. So having said that, we're going to kind of go into that first. And I kind of alluded to this a little bit in one of my other videos and showed it a bit. And I'm going to kind of recap that area now. So I'm going to jump over to my wonderful spreadsheet here, and kind of, you can see it already in the background, and that's intentional. I had to widen the screen a bit here. So what I've got here is in column B, I've got the character in the description here, their ability, the damage that they've got at 7-star, level 70, tier 11. The reason I picked that was mainly because I thought it was the, maybe except for the 70, level 70 is the most attainable, of things to get as far as a max type character. I think once you start pushing tier 12, 13, that's, it's going to be much more rare than a 7-star level 70, in my opinion. So anyway, I picked that damage basically from the msf.gg, which I've talked about in the past, and I'm not going to go through how you do that, but it's on that website. Pull that number, and then I get the percent increase based on the ability, and then I get a revised total for what their damage is, and then I have a equation here to figure out the increase. So for each one of these that is a damage increase, I've got the specific, in game it actually says damage percent increase. What I've done is actually given you the number of damage here so that you can see where it's at. So and that's where this kind of, it's really the columns you want to look at here are F and G. It shows you how much it increases and the rank comparative to all the other damage increases. So you can see here, and I'm not going to go through these one by one. This is just to give you an indication of how I kind of use these damages or the abilities that increase damage to help rank a little bit. One of the things that does not necessarily take into account here is also the adjacent items. This is really just a pure number. As much as I'd love to get into the adjacent things I've mentioned before, it's kind of tough just to get some of this stuff put together. So adding that to the equation this time, I just wasn't able to do, and I really wanted to get this video out now that we're going to get our T4 mats here soon. So as you can see, just damage alone, Korath, the 120 is way above anything else. It's 1,300 above number 2. And then 2 and 3 with Iron Fist and Winter Soldier are kind of by themselves. And then you've got a, maybe you throw the Ultron Basic on top of that. And then there's a few in the 5,000 range between Elektra, Hulk, oddly enough. Spider-Man's ult, that's probably one that you really want to look at, considering his ult also stuns and slows. So, considering that's going to do a massive amount of damage there, it's probably a good one to look at. Iron Man Basic, that one actually, even though it's got a lot of damage, it's only to the secondary target, and that's why some of this is kind of important to look at exactly where the damage is going. And if I remember correctly, the percent chance of that secondary attack is only like 30. So you have a 30% chance, or 30 5% chance to get this damage increase on a secondary target. To me, even though it's 8, that's going to drop it severely in the rankings, and I'll go over that in a bit. But anyway, it's one of the things that you've got to be factoring here. So again, I'm not going to go through all of these. You can see them here. I'm going to provide a link to this website or this spreadsheet in the description of the channel or this specific video, so you can scroll through this and look at it item by item all you want, just to kind of get a feel for it. You can see there's a whopping 120 of these items, with Thor's passive kind of filling out the bottom here. I think it was a 5% increase, and obviously that's across the board, so that's every single attack, so you can factor that in however you want to. But as far as the actual numbers increase, that's kind of where it sits. And when you see these green, the green format items, those are the ones I actually picked. So the Rocket Basic, even though it's really low, I liked it a lot because he counters a lot, and I also use Rocket quite often, and I'm a big fan of the tech team. And then I've done the Spider-Man and Vision as far as the damage goes. So anyway, that's that part of the of explaining how I did these rankings. Again, it's just for the damage part of it. So let's get to the actual abilities themselves. And I'm gonna start at the bottom here, because it's important to understand these things. And you can see how I've kind of classified these. Well, there's obviously a broken one because it's broken, the Rocket Special. I would probably rank that around the 19th, so that'll jump way up once they fix it, because the assist isn't working properly. So without that, to me, it's not as good. So I've got that dropped at the bottom because it's broken. So anyway, I've got these bottom feeder ones that I call total crap, and then crap, and then I'll get through the rest of them as I work towards the top. And again, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what's out there. And some of this stuff, bullseye, passive for accuracy, a chance to gain speed up. It's already at 90%. Cool, you're going to get an extra 10%. And it's Nebula. Cool. Just gaining 2 counters on Nobu. Only 300 healing. It's not that big of a difference to me for 220 T4 mats. Again, that's total crap to me. These other Night Nurse ones I think are total crap. It's not going to help you that much, in my opinion. And then you get some crap ones. Maybe that is, and again, this is the first pass, or maybe the second pass through these, so I might change some of these. But an additional block chance. On taunt, you clear all negatives from Hulk. It was 3 already. It's like, how many negative effects is this guy gonna have when he taunts? It's not like people are aiming for Hulk. I really don't like those type of upgrades, because I just think they're pointless. It's not like people are looking to attack Luke Cage or Hulk. Let's see. I mean, it would make that a good ability is at the end of the taunt, or maybe in the middle of the taunt, or is immune to debuffs or something along those lines. That'd be a sweet upgrade. Anyway, so there's a bunch of these that I just consider crap. As you kind of go up here, I've got the next category at the bottom, which I'd call meh. It's just like stuff that's whatever. Hand Assassin, but heal block for 3 turns. Great, that's cool, but I mean, 2 turns is still pretty damn good. 3rd turn, all right, whatever. Some of the lower damage items you can see over here. And actually, this, just to explain this part a little bit. So this is the description, or this is the description of the ability. This is the character and that specific ability. And then over here, I've just put what you saw at the bottom. That's what is over here. So if you're wondering what this is, it's the same stuff I had at the bottom, and these are the ranks. So I kind of help use those as I'm final ranking some of these, where and I've clearly not ranked these, because at this point it doesn't really matter. I'm not interested in ranking this section of these, because they're just so bad that it doesn't matter. No one's even close to looking at some of these unless you just love Hand Assassin, which if you do, good, but I'm not looking at that. So anyway, so you work your way up through these meh items, as I call them, and then here's that Iron Man basic, and the reason I have the highlight is because it's only a 30% chance. So I've got that way, even though it's an 8 here as far as increased damage ranking, I've got it way down here because it's only a 30% chance, and I don't like that. I maybe could move it up to the next category, which I call and maybe I'm thinking about that somewhat, but regardless, it's towards the bottom in my mind because of that 30% chance. So don't waste your resources on it. Like I already said, the next category is this, just kind of thinking about it some, and some of these might be good. Punisher Special, it's a great, he's got a lot of damage, but that it's not increasing that much. It's just, I mean, no one's really looking to use that ability. Typically just use it if you want to get a little bit of AoE out there, but you get the idea. So and then it jumps up to what I call okay. You know, it's kind of like, all right, this is it's catching my attention a little bit here, and you can kind of see some of the stuff in here, and you know, some damage items from Pyro, Magneto, Sabretooth, some piercing. I still, you know, I really need to do some research on piercing, to be honest with you, because I'm just struggling to see how much, you know, how is 20 piercing compared to 30% damage just in this particular case? Is piercing way better? I mean, the piercing to me is it helps, you know, get through armor. But if you're just attacking someone with low armor, who cares? So, but the truth is, I don't really know the stats behind that. I don't know the theory crafting behind it. So at some point, if anybody knows, please comment below. And, you know, if somebody's got a video on it, please post it below. I really want to learn more about piercing. I just don't know that much about it. And it is a question that I've continually had for myself. So anyway, moving on. You know, some healing in here, which is okay, but the reason I've got that probably lower with Miss Marvel, she already heals as a large chunk. So, you know, I don't even have her maxed out. I think I'm level 4, and, you know, she's still healing for almost 100%. So it's not, you know, at this point, it just seems a bit silly. But maybe if it was plus healing and less energy, that'd be really what I'd be looking for. I already mentioned the rocket basic that I kind of put, that I already use abilities for. That's in here. The hand sentry deflect. You know, I'd love to have that, but it's too much for just, you know, one use. It's like, okay. And then we get into the next category, and you start seeing these things get ranked a little bit. You know, and I've got some of these numbers, you know, I'm still working through. As you can see, the numbers are shifted a little bit here, but, you know, it's just trying to tell me that I think these things are probably towards the top of this okay section if I ever get to it, which is probably 6 years from now, given how quickly these mats come across. And we'll see how the game progresses in the next, well, shoot, 6 months, forget 6 years. And so the next category I've got is good. And this is where I really start focusing in on the rankings a little bit. Again, I'm not going to go through each one of these. You can see there's 52 of these. You don't want to watch that. I don't want to do it. I mean, it's just, you can go to the spreadsheet. You can look at it. I'll talk about a few of them as I go up. And, you know, if you see stuff on here like, hey, WolverThor, why did you put that there? That doesn't make any sense. You got to factor in blah, blah. Share that. I'm not saying this list is bulletproof. It's, you know, going through this, you know, your eyes start getting crossed a little bit, to be honest with you. So that's part of why it took me so long to do it, is that you really kind of have to get, one, to put it all in a spreadsheet. Two, you got to start analyzing it from one item to the next, and just say, well, wait a minute, how's this compared to this and compared to that? And you start juggling 500 balls at the same time, and, you know, you forgot where the blue, red, and purple ones are. So please, you know, feel free to share and, you know, comment about what you think should be higher or lower. So anyway, we got a bunch of damage items here, kind of at the bottom of this good section. I've got Doctor Strange's alt. I do kind of like that. You know, there's a decent HP, you know, jump there, and, you know, a revive of 50% HP. That's pretty solid. You know, you basically bring a person back, you know, at full, you know, obviously half capacity, but someone who's going to get a couple turns in for sure. So I kind of like that. It's kind of in the mid of the good section. You know, let's see, some more damages here. You know, Yondu's passive I really struggled with. I had it lower, then I brought it up a little bit, and it's just, you know, the reason you know, this used to be a huge one, and I think the problem everyone has with it is that, well, what if he, you know, tries to steal from someone who doesn't have a buff? True. So, but there's so many buffed characters these days that it's just kind of like, he's probably going to pick somebody with a buff, because a lot of people have buffs. Not like people are, you know, between defense up, offense up, regeneration, deflect, stealth. You know, there's just so many things that you can have on a character that it's still pretty good. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next time I do this, I move it up some. I've been watching him a bit, and he seems to always be trying to steal too. So anyway, Nebula, it's just, you know, she's got a high damage there, ranked 32. Let's see, what other ones are here? Daredevil's. I did like his ultimate. You know, the fact that's one of the biggest jumps you'll see in chains in the game. From 3 to 4 to 4 to 6, it's pretty solid. You know, his ranking and the damage isn't great, but I just really like the fact that I could, you know, you're guaranteed 4 targets there. It's pretty sick. So, That piercing sneaks up again with Ultron. I just couldn't ignore that 80% there. I had to think that was pretty solid. Nobu, surprisingly enough, is the 15th ranked here. Damage, which is pretty solid. I mean, that's gonna start hitting there for an extra 4K there. 4,200. What was this one here? Thor special. Some good damage there as well. Iron Fist passive. I'm sure you guys have seen this in some of the other content creators' videos. He's just a lot more healed. That is a very, very solid choice. And one of the things I should say is, if you're a big defenders person, you might have these things moved up. I tried to not think about it that way, even though some of the things that I do when I pick Rocket, obviously that factored into my decision. So this list is not necessarily intended to tell you do this one first, do this one second, do this one third, do this one fourth. Don't do that. Everybody's teams are different. Who you use is different. So if you're a big defenders person, you'll probably have this one in the top 4. So, make sure you're factoring that in when you kind of look at these. This is really just to kind of get you, heading in the right direction. You don't want to be going left when you really should be going right, that type of thing. So anyway, Iron Fist special, Sabretooth makes an appearance here. Quake's alt, I struggle with that one a little bit too because that's damage across the board. That one might be able to go higher, but it's pretty high on this quote unquote good list. So I don't know. I could see that one moving up a little bit in the future. This Loki one, I almost put this one in great. In the future, I might, but I really like the fact that you had stealth for 2 turns. That's pretty solid and a nice increase to your mirror damage. So can you imagine summoning 3 and then everyone being stealth for 2 turns? Now, part of the reason I struggle with that probably a little bit is the Mystique add to the game where she's clearing everyone's stealth, but it's not like Mystique's all over the place. So. Who knows? But I really like that, stealth for 2 turns is a really big gain, and I could see that moving up the list over time. So Magneto's passive. The reason I have this high, but it could have been higher, I'm just not convinced the focus gain here is really doing that much. And, 5% health, it's nice. And Brotherhood health, obviously that's nice as well, but I just don't know for 240 mats. I just couldn't move it up higher, whereas, Nick Fury type passives, they're... those are sick. I really, this one probably could go higher too, but, it'd be nice to have a Magneto type. I mean, you think about that. Magneto versus Nick Fury. Who do you think is going to be stronger here? Like, really? I mean, is that even a question? Now, I get in the game that, Nick Fury is this, amazing character, and Magneto and the Brotherhood were meant to kind of destroy him. And they do actually a really good job against them, but, I don't know, maybe Magneto and company would be too OP if they made it much stronger. So I can't hate too much because I don't know the calcs behind it. But anyway, it's a thought that's come across my mind. So Blade Master damage here, 10. Only reason he's that low is probably because he's a minion. So if he was a real character that everyone's kind of using, I mean, that's a nice increase there. So he's just lower because that's where he's at. And unfortunately, he's a minion and. He's not going to get much love there. So, all right. So the next category I got is great. As you can see, this first one here, Cable's Ultimate. It's ranked 13th in the damage. You get an extra 4,600. Just got that at 20. Deadpool special. It's available. Right away. You can it's a lot of damage. I could see him. You could probably move that up maybe a little bit, but I think it's right about where it needs to be. 12th ranked damage. Deadpool can be a good character. So we got that coming in at 19. 18 Juggernaut's Ultimate. It's ranked 11th. It takes a little bit for him to get that going, so probably dropped him in the rankings somewhat, but it's a nice damage increase at 4,800. Star-Lord's Ultimate. This might be a little biased by me, but he's also got that Ultimate ready at the first turn. It's ranked 16th, 4,100, so an immediate kind of nuke from him. Kind of like that. That's why that's above some of these other ones that are ranked a little bit lower. Next one up, Iron Man's ult. What am I at over here? So that's 9, right? Yeah, so that's a real solid upgrade there. It's going to do a lot of damage for a tune that already does a lot of damage. Spider-Man's Ultimate, mentioned this earlier, 15. I got it at 7. It's towards the higher end of this damage spectrum, we'll call it. So I have that coming in there. Elektra, surprisingly, in the top 14. That damage increase, it's technically ranked 5th. So that's really, really solid there. Not that you're going to go in and, again, this is the part where it's like, are you really going to upgrade Elektra as your 14th T4? No way. Nobody's really using Electra, but that you just can't ignore that damage. So next one up, Venom. Big fan of Venom. I think he's got a great synergy with the Brotherhood and those bleeds. Obviously, you can see the damage here is not, is typically necessarily worthy of this great classification, but it's 3 bleeds for 2 turns on top of that damage bump. That's pretty nice. So I had to put that in there. So that really is a top tier type upgrade. The next one we've got Ultron Basic, ton of damage. That's actually coming in at 4. The next one we've got Nick Fury Special. Nick Fury, man, they really did this guy well. He's just being treated, like the king of the game, to be honest with you. I know, again, I said already, the Brotherhood can beat him, Magneto and all that, but man, has he got some good upgrades. So 2,000 healing, that's more than Night Nurse, and he was already doing 8K healing. I mean, this guy is the better healer than Night Nurse, which is just nuts. Granted, I think it's 3 turns, but still. Iron Fist comes in next at you, rounding out your top 10. He's technically got the number 2 damage here. I think I just dropped him a little bit because it takes a few turns to get his ultimate going, but it's still obviously a top 10 worthy upgrade because of the damage. Already mentioned this one as well. Winter Soldier, first turn use on his ultimate, big damage increase there. Rank number 3. This one might be a little controversial, maybe. I don't know. I'd really have to see kind of the increase here. But Storm, obviously her damage here is 115. That's terrible. 806. That's pretty bad. But the 10 per charge. Typically you're not going to use this anything under 8 or 10 or more. So I was just imagining like an extra 100% damage along with this. That's the reason I put that up there so high. I'm still on the fence on whether it could drop dramatically or not, but I wanted to put it up there. I'd love for you guys to chime in on this one specifically if you've got any thoughts on it. I don't know. I could see this thing being a real big, just help and kind of nuke to the game. Scarlet Witch Special, I've got it number 7. The defense up always to all allies. I really just think that is phenomenal. I think that you see this yellow over here. That means I'm thinking about it. For my next upgrade, this is one I'm severely thinking about. I'm a fan of what I call the Storm Vengers for raids, and she's part of that team. And I know a lot of people like to use the nuke. I actually like to use a special with Storm, and part of that is using Scarlet Witch and Vision with her. And if I can get defense up when she spreads it around some, I think I can get some better survivability out of that team. So that's why I've got that so high, on top of the fact, and again, I'm not meant to be biased, but the fact that from a 50% to 100%, everybody, I think that's huge. Next up, Black Panther's passive. I struggle with this one. I dropped it lower. I brought it back up. He's a glass cannon, first off. So I really struggle with how good I think he is. Some people love him. Obviously, the blitz is happening right now with him. I'm going to try to push it. I'd love to get another additional 85 shards of his. I think I'm at 5-star now. I think I'd be a little bit short of 6-star. But, the fact that as soon as he kills someone, he can go immediately again, that'd be really nice. Because the way it's been working with, at 80% for anyone who's not aware is that he'll kill someone and typically someone else will probably go, and then he goes shortly after that. So, to really get him at 100 there, I think that would be pretty sick. But at the same time, it's not like you're going into a lot of nodes killing a bunch of people quick. So it's like some people say it makes you, win a little better. Which means if you're going to win, what's the point of upgrading if you're already winning? So, but there are times when it's like, neck and neck towards the end, and that really comes in as just, a node saver or maybe an arena saver or something like that. Not that many of us are using Black Panther in arena, but maybe Blitz. Next up, round at the top 5 is Thanos' passive. Obviously, this is gigantic. The reason I don't have, this could be higher, to be honest with you, but the only reason it's not is because someone's got to die. So you got to take a little bit to kind of to get there. So anyway, number 4, Spider-Man basic, which I've already upgraded. That's the green to the left. This comes in at your damage rank of 14. There's a damage on prime and secondary and a chance to invade. Or evade, and it raises it to 60%. I just really like that skill. I think there's a lot of things going on there with the upgrade, and obviously Spider-Man evading is a big deal. So I got that at number 4, and I've already got upgraded myself. Vision basic. This one, I kind of had this at 1. This was the first one I ever upgraded. You know, again, the damage isn't great over here. It's not bad, but it's not your typical top, 15. But I just like the chain. I like the additional damage to the secondary target. Vision to me is all over the map in the game. He's usable everywhere. You know, to me, he and Black Widow are the top 2 characters in the game as far as versatility and being used everywhere. So I think, that his basic just really is a really, really solid basic. Number 2, Miss Marvel passive. For me, again, the damage isn't huge here. Or, I'm sorry, there is no damage increase, but the jumping from 80 to 100% on every single brawler's turn, that is huge. It's basically multiple attacks all the time. And if you're using brawlers, typically most of them are fast. So it's just, you're getting attack after attack after attack. So I really think her passive is a top tier upgrade here. I've obviously upgraded. I think it was the second or third one that I did. It looks like the second one that I did. Highly recommended if you don't have a brawlers team. Don't necessarily, throw it in there if you don't, but if you have her and you're using her, I've got some of her other abilities at level 4. And with this, she's just, she helps me in raid nodes. She helps me in, obviously Blitz it's a joke with her and the brawler team. So as the only one left now is this number 1 ability. To me, this might be a little controversial. I don't use this character all that much, but I think this ability could be for sure game changing in arena. I think it is a huge, huge upgrade, and it could potentially one-shot people in that first turn, and that's Korath's ultimate. And that, as you saw below, is that damage increase is huge. I mean, I'm just imagining, and I'd love to see, if anyone's done this, I'd love to see a video on it. I mean, I could see this guy wiping out Black Widow with one-shot first turn. Some DPS first turn, or any of your damage dealers, your Spideys, your Daredevils, your Gamoras, anybody you want to take out first turn. It might even be able to take out a Crossbones first turn with that type of damage, but I don't know for certain. So I got Korath's ult as the top potential upgrade of the T formats. So love to see your thoughts on that. If anybody's done that, please, leave a comment below. If you've seen a video on it, I'd love to see it. Please share that link below. So we can kind of chat about it and you just kind of get some theory crafting going on it. So that's the end of the video. Hope it helped. Like I said, I'm going to put the link to the spreadsheet in the description. And I hope that it helps you guys kind of narrow your focus in on your T formats. And if you got any suggestions for how to move these rankings around, like I said, please share them. And as always, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, click that subscribe button as well as that like button. We'll see you guys again soon. Thanks.